Oh man, much better. I hear some awake friends. Can everyone, we're going to sit up and we're going to read. I brought an exciting article to read. Today your learning objective for reading is activating and building your background knowledge, which is something I know all of you have already done and I know you've practiced, but in order to be good readers, it takes practice and practice. So the more you guys practice on building your background knowledge, the better you can understand and become the best readers that you can be. So I brought an article on, let me just show you. On a shark. What? Let's see. It says, the summer of the shark. The first thing I noticed about this article is, why is it the summer of the shark? This must be, I heard on the news that in 2001, there were the most shark attacks ever in that summer. So a lot of people were getting attacked by sharks. So the first thing I'm going to do today is we're going to make an anchor chart, which I know is another thing that you guys have practiced. And so that's one thing that we can become better readers at and keep track of what we know and what we do not know. There we go. So we're going to label our anchor chart with two sides. One is going to be what I know, and then the second column is going to be what I have learned. So I'm going to make like a big T. And I want you guys to watch the chart that I'm making, because in a minute you are going to have a chance to practice making your own chart and reading the article. So before I even begin reading the article, I'm going to stop and I'm going to think about, what do I know about sharks? Well, one thing I know, like I just told you, is in 2001, that summer had the most shark attacks in the summer. Most shark attacks. Which is another thing that leads me to believe that I think sharks maybe like to attack people. I don't know. They seem mean. So I'm going to say sharks are mean. Do you have a comment? Can we hold it just for a little bit? So I'm going to say sharks. What we do here is what I know. Then we can also, it can also be things that you wonder about. Like, what do you wonder about sharks? I want to see if they are mean. Maybe by reading this article, I will learn if they are mean or not. I also know that there are many different sharks. There's not just one kind of shark. So there are many different sharks. The last thing I'm going to say that I know about sharks is that their skin, I was reading an article in a book, and it said their skin is like sharp scales. So I think that's really cool. Their skin is made up of sharp scales. So if I want you guys to turn and talk in your groups for about 30 seconds. You're going to have a little bit of time. Talk about what you know about sharks. You can start going. You can start talking. What do you guys know about sharks?
Shark being a shark that only eats human is called shark. Sharks don't actually sharks that they get them as seals. Sharks don't want to capture them. That's why people are having that's why they go crazy.
You think they eat on everything they see? Well, that's okay. We'll just talk until so we have someone to talk to. What are you guys talking about?
Well, I'm talking about most of the sharks that attack from
Okay, so you don't think they're mean? You don't think they need to attack?
Sharks, but it's road sharks.
Sharks when they are
You do not have
All right,
shark
friends,
teeth.
wrap it up. We're gonna come back to the front. I heard some great conversations about sharks. I think you know more about me than sharks.
Yeah.
Raise your quiet hand and tell me one thing that your table discussed. What do you guys learn or know about sharks already? What is something you before talked about?
Well, I know something I learned, but I thought that I know why sharks are having attacks.
Do you know why they're having shark attacks?
I think because maybe because people keep going in the water. Because sometimes I see people on the TV going in the water catching sharks. Maybe that's why they're having the shark attacks.
Okay, so she thinks the sharks are attacking people because they keep going in the water. What is something that your table discussed? Shark teeth. I like that one. They do have really sharp teeth. All right, Lyric.
Well, our team discussed that sharks don't mean to attack humans. The only shark that wants to attack humans is probably Bermuda. They probably do not exist.
Okay.
But once a shark sucks up a little drop of blood, it blacks out and bites them.
Okay, so he thinks they don't mean to attack people. Maybe they're going after like their blood or something. Is that what you mean? Okay. And yes, one more.
Sharks are
They are. Say that again. Elated. Like they like to go towards blood. So if they smell it, they want to go swim to it. Is that what you're saying? So she says again, kind of like what Lyric was saying. You guys both are on the same page of they like blood. So maybe I don't know. Maybe they're going after the people if they have a cut or something. So we're going to start looking at, those were all very, very good ideas that you already know about sharks. So the first thing I'm going to look at is more. I noticed top 5 heaviest sharks. It says there are 370 different kinds of sharks. That's a lot of sharks. So I got one sentence right of the article, and I already learned something new. So I'm going to pull out my chart, and under the what I have learned, I'm going to say there are 370 different kinds. That is a lot. And that's something that doesn't surprise me, because like I already knew, there were a lot, but that's something I can connect with my background knowledge, and now I know even more. And then I'm going to keep reading. It says, let's start off with the first sentence. Sharks don't really like to bite people. A great white shark prefers to eat a seal. It says, a bull shark loves fish, and even another shark. So you guys were right. They don't always like to go after people. But I didn't really know that until I read in the article. So that's another thing you guys can be careful of, we call those misconceptions. Misconceptions are things that you hear maybe like from movies or from TV shows, or if you are watching, or if like you're reading a pretend book. It can portray or it can show that sharks are always mean. But until you actually read about it, it says sharks would rather eat seals. Or fish, like seals, fish, and it also said right here, and sometimes another shark. I did not know that they ate sharks. So maybe like a big one would eat a smaller one? I don't really know. So I need you guys to pull out your reading journals. So you're going to start making your own chart. I'm going to pass out a copy of the shark article. I have one for all of you. And you guys can start reading and picking out different things that you find new about a shark that you already know, or that you didn't know. Yes. That would be a great comment to put in your what I know. That would be perfect. That's what we're looking for. And once you should have your journals out, and you start making your anchor chart. You you make one line down the middle, and then a line at the top so it looks like a big T.
Why is this called?
That's a good question. I would have to look into why it's called an anchor chart. I think it's because we can write what we learned and what we don't know, or you can organize. It helps you organize new information. So what I know and what I learned. Good job. While you're treating those. Once I see your typing, I'm going to pass out the article. If you can go ahead and write something that you know in the what I know column, you can get started with that. I'm going to pass out. I'm going to turn your articles face down. Don't turn them over yet, because I will tell you all when. We're not reading the whole thing yet. In a minute, when I tell you to read, you're just going to find one thing. So leave your articles upside down. Alright, everyone looking at me, you can put your pencils down for a minute. If you haven't finished what I know, then that's okay. We're going to keep practicing. But I wanted you guys to, I pass out the article. You're going to turn it over when I say. You're going to find one thing, not the whole article. Find one thing to read. You'll see around the picture, there's little notes, so you can look at one of those. And then you're going to write it down if that's something you have learned or if it's something you already know. And then we will come and talk about it. So you can turn over your articles. Find one thing that you want to read and write it on what I know or what I learned. When you're finished with that one, turn your article back over so I know when you're finished. You should have about 1 more minute, because it's just one thing. Or like one sentence, because I learned that in one sentence, so you didn't know that. Or you have a little, you have that little parts of it. You learn about one thing. All right, everyone can put your pencils down and look back up here. All right, well, what are some things that you have learned in that few, that 1 minute? What is something you've already learned? Okay, so she learned about their smell. Smell is one of their sharpest senses, and they can smell underwater. Very good. Cool. Okay, perfect. So he learned that there have been 52 attacks, and most of them were in Florida. Which is kind of scary because you live in Florida. Barbara, what is one thing you learned?
Last year, sharks bite 84 people.
Okay, so 84 people were bitten last year. That's kind of a lot of people. Let me see. Yes. Bill?
That sharks can't see into the
sharks can see in dim light. That must mean their senses are pretty good. Their eyesight is pretty good. They can see in dim light. And Chanel?
I learned that a shark's nose is the shark's
Okay, so a shark's nose is their sharpest sense. These are all so great. I think I'm going to start writing some of them under what I've learned. So we said that their nose, they have a great sense of smell. One of your friends also said that they can see in dim light. Very good. And you have something, Trinity? And she said sharks have super sharp teeth. I like super sharp teeth. Very good. So, by even reading one sentence from the article or one little thing, Alejandro, can you turn that over? Because we're about to read the whole thing. We already learned how many senses that, like they are great sense of smell, they can see in dim light. So we've already learned that. So now I'm going to let you finish up reading the article in a minute when I say, and you're going to continue your anchor chart, and I'm going to give you a little bit of time to read, but then we're going to share with our classmates what you have learned and what you maybe wondered, and if you found that out in the article. So you can turn the article over and finish reading.
the enemy.
Alright. You guys, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to wrap it up. Finish what you're writing or what you're reading. Alright, can we put our pencils down? Alright, so you guys had time to look over the article and read. I saw some great work going on. I found that, did you want to share one thing that you learned, Ezekiel? Perfect. So he said that they get confused with humans. So that kind of clears up my misconception of my anchor chart. I said sharks are mean. But while reading this article, I learned sharks are they don't mean to. They just kind of get confused. Maybe they think I'm an animal. They might mistake a human foot as a fish. I think Barbara said the same thing. I was reading. She said that your foot may look like a fish to them. So when they're looking for a fish, they may accidentally grab your foot. Does people want to share what they've learned? I know I saw a lot of good thinking going on.
I didn't know that sharks eat other sharks.
He didn't know that sharks ate other sharks. I didn't either. That's great. That's a great thing to put under what I learned. Yes.
I wrote down that
Let's just do one because I see a lot of other.
sharks can be 6 to 40 inches or feet long.
Excellent. She found out that they can be 6 inches, which is about this big. So they can be little. Did you guys know that they can be this little? When I think of shark, I think of huge. Or they could be 40 feet long. Very good. Muriel, I know how you
I know that sharks are blind. I watched this shark show. It said that sharks are blind.
Okay. So she says that sharks are blind, which is something that you could say in the beginning that's something that she knows. So, but through reading this article, under eyes, it says, like cats, shark can see in dim light. So they can actually see. So that is another misconception that we have, is maybe they can't see. So, but that's great. I'm so glad you pointed that out because I had a lot of misconceptions too. I will take about one more. Yes.
Sharks can hear fish about 60 yards away.
So sharks can hear a fish about 60 yards away. That's a long way. So I would probably say that they have good, I think it's good to say that they have good hearing. So they can hear fish up to 60 yards away. Excellent. And then the last thing that I'm going to share with you guys is that when we're reading and we find what we've learned, we can also kind of get an idea, a big idea of what this article is supposed to be about. So what is, like a big idea would be, you guys pointed out, sharks' great sense of smell, they can see in dim light, they have super sharp teeth, and that they can hear fish up to 60 yards away. The big idea that I get from that is that they have, and I saw it on a lot of your papers, is that they have super senses. So that's great, that would be a big idea. They have really good sight, hearing, and they have really sharp teeth, so they have good senses. What would be another big idea that we could get from this article? After reading all the articles, do you know, Naya? What is another big idea that you got from this article? So she was bringing up the attacks. So yes, they do attack people, but what did we learn about their attacks? Barbara?
Well, actually,
You have another one? Okay, hold that thought, and we're going to talk about her attacks. What could our attacks kind of like make us think? Like a big idea would, do they mean to attack people? Or is it an accident? Yes, ma'am?
well, they don't actually attack people. They just think they're a seal because they paddle and they feet well, the feet look like fish for the shark, so they don't mean to.
Okay, excellent. So they don't mean, so a big idea is, she said they don't mean to attack people. The big idea I could take away from that is sharks are not out to attack us. They get confused. They think we are a seal or they think we are a fish. So you're not, yes, they do attack people, but you're not very likely. I read a sentence in the article that said you are 30 times more likely to get hit by lightning. So they don't attack us a lot. It's accident. So that was another big idea. And Barbara, did you have one last thing to add? Before we... Let's just do one. It's almost... Mm-hmm.
Okay. That sharks have teeth as 1 inch long, and there's like a movie called Soul Surfer. It's about a shark. Like once ate the girl, she was on the surfer, she was like laying down, and the shark came in and ate her hand.
Okay, so that's an example of something that happened in the world where a shark has thought the human was maybe a seal or saw the arm and thought it was an animal. So great job. I know you guys have a lot of stuff that you want to share. So real fast, I'll give you 30 seconds to talk in your table groups and share what you wanted to share if you couldn't share it with me.
Shark. They have 5 sharks. And the black shark, the great white shark, and the green shark, and then sharks about and then her sharks will alive. I didn't take one.
Alright, eyes on me. Putting your pencils down. You guys can keep the articles if you would like, and you can put them in your journals, or if you don't want them, then you can, I'll take them. So you can pack up or close your reading folders and put those away, and we will get back to your lesson. Good work, guys. You guys did a great job at finding the big ideas and what you know and what you don't know.
You can take them now. Is that true?